Welcome to another DARS tutorial video. In this session we're going to be looking at queries and in particular focusing on suppressions. We will cover looking at what a suppression actually is, thinking about why we use suppressions, looking at how suppressions work and how to actually use them. So what is a suppression? To put it simply, a suppression is a way of grouping constituents who should not be contacted. There are many reasons why someone shouldn't be contacted. Perhaps at their request we've added solicit codes or mail preferences. We don't want to include inactive or deceased records into our queries, and we don't want to include people where contact details are blank. There are many other reasons as to why we might need to suppress a record though. So the reason that we use suppressions is to ensure that we don't include people who should not be contacted in our lists when writing queries. Regardless of whether we're contacting people by mail, telephone or email, we want to ensure that we only contact people who are happy for us to do so and that we suppress those who do not. Okay, so now we know what a suppression is and why we have them, let's look at how they work. Initially a query is written that identifies people who should not be contacted, and this query will likely include many of the reasons that we discussed earlier. The results of this query can then be saved as a selection. If you'd like to find out more about selections, see our video, Querying an Overview of Selections. Now because this selection has a particular purpose, namely grouping people that we do not wish to contact, we refer to it as a suppression. So a suppression is simply a selection. So here I am in DARS and you'll see that my suppressions appear in my list of standard queries. If we edit this query we can have a look at the filters that determine the behaviour of the suppression. So here we can see that it's trying to include people who are deceased, inactive records, have blank contact details, so on and so forth. If I run this suppression, the results that come back will be a list of people who should not be contacted, and this demonstrates that all a suppression is doing is grouping those individuals together. So lastly, let's look at how to use a suppression. In the query builder, scroll down to the bottom, find the selections folder, and here is where you'll locate all your suppressions. There are two types of suppressions. OXUN system suppressions, which cover the Central University Department and Faculties, or COL suppressions, which are for use by the colleges. The middle window will display the suppressions that are available under each category. Now these names can seem quite long, so refer to the naming convention if you're having trouble finding a suppression. All documents and processes created in DARS should be named in 4 steps. The site, which is the college or department. The type relates to the nature of the process or document, in this case it's going to be suppressions. The author's initials, remember to always use 3. And the name of the process or the document. And below you can see a few examples. So going back into DARS, if ever you're using a suppression as a filter, always put your suppression at the top of your filters list and set the value to no. This way you can ensure that you will not be contacting any name that has been included within that suppression onto your mailing list. And that's how simple using suppressions is. So here's a few things to remember. Always use suppressions when contacting people. Always put suppressions at the top of your filters and ensure that the value is set to no. Never create a contact list directly from a query. Always use the output of a query to populate either a managed correspondence process or a marketing effort. And lastly, always check and double check your contact lists to make sure that you've applied the suppressions correctly and that you haven't included anyone who should not be contacted. We hope that you found this tutorial useful, and if you'd like to find out more information, visit us at www.admin.ox.ac.uk/DARS or email us at darstraining@admin.ox.ac.uk.